Now, there's nothing I like more than a good conversation, which is probably just as well considering talking and listening are at the heart of just about everything I do as a personal development coach. So tell me, when was the last time you had a really good conversation? Because even though you no doubt have lots of conversations during the course of your daily interactions, not all conversations are created equal, and not all conversations can be classified as good, can they? While there are undoubtedly some conversations that turn out to be literally life-changing, details of one of mine to follow, there are others which, for want of a better description, I'll call unsatisfactory conversations, usually characterized by a lot of one-sided talking and not much listening. You know the type of thing, the conversations where you find yourself being spoken to rather than conversed with. The conversation where the other party is just itching to relate everything back to their experience, and where what you say will have absolutely no bearing on their response because they already know what they're going to say anyway. If you've been on the receiving end of something like this, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say I somehow feel a bit used after this type of conversation. A good conversation, however, is something very different. You know when you've been part of a good conversation because of how it makes you feel. You walk away from it feeling heard, feeling understood, energized, or inspired, or any number of generally positive emotions. And then there are those special conversations you have with someone where the next day, or even several days later, you're still thinking about that conversation because something in you changed as a result of having had it. A conversation can be the catalyst that literally changes your life. And when you've had one of those, you know just how powerful an experience it is. The coaching conversation is an example of this. It doesn't necessarily change your life, although it certainly can do, but something changes as a result of it. I was talking with a woman recently, and when I told her that conversation was at the heart of what I do, she responded by saying, "Oh, so you tell people what to do then, do you?" Which first off made me smile to think she immediately linked conversation with telling people what to do. But secondly, it made me realize that there are others who probably think the same. And even if they don't, they probably have absolutely no idea what a coaching conversation is, let alone how powerful it can be. I love the feeling of potential at the start of every coaching conversation I have with my clients. There's a certain power within it, a power to clarify, to heal, to transform, a power to connect us to our spark, our inspiration, to our inner wisdom, and best of all, to motivate us into action. And yes, all that takes place within a conversation. So let me just tell you a little bit more about how this happens. It's a guided exploration. You know, for a start, there is no set agenda other than what you want to achieve and what you bring to the conversation, which more often than not will include a head full of ideas, hopes, and challenges, all competing for attention and clarity. But no agenda doesn't mean there's no structure to the conversation. There is. And it's my job as the coach to guide the conversation and help you explore opportunities, obstacles, choices, options, and find clarity, direction, and commitment to take away with you. A client of mine once described her coaching sessions as being like setting off on a journey of exploration with someone you have absolute confidence in at the helm, that would be me, with no idea where it'll take you at the outset, but knowing you'll be in a better place by the end. And the more coaching conversations I have, the more I witness the truth of this. At its essence, the coaching conversation offers something that's becoming increasingly difficult to find, and that is a thinking space. A supported space where you can take a step back and see the bigger picture. A space where you can tap into your internal wisdom and listen to yourself. A space where you can clarify your own thinking, find new perspectives, and experience moments of sheer inspiration, best described as motivational dynamite. So what's my role in all this? You may well be wondering. Well, my job is to support, encourage, and yes, sometimes give a gentle kick up the you-know-what. Questioning and listening are the two main tools of the trade required for the job, both of which I'm quite good at, as it turns out. Coaching is about asking lots of questions, thought-provoking, inspiring, challenging, supportive, and powerful questions, hopefully, to help you uncover the answers which are right for you. Contrary to what some may think, it isn't about me telling you what to do or giving advice, unless you ask, but rather it's about helping you take ownership of your situation, to come up with your own answers, and importantly, take the right actions for you. And as for the listening part, well, this is definitely the more challenging part of my job and requires far more than me pleasantly nodding along as you talk. It requires active, mindful listening, noticing a sigh, a sharp intake of breath, an unexpected change of tone or emotion, all of which can provide as much, if not more, information than the spoken word. Listening allows me to notice all the important stuff lurking underneath, the excuses, the procrastination, the overwhelm, the crippling fears and the limiting beliefs, which, unless challenged and examined, could so easily undermine your precious dreams and ambitions. It's all about the A word. What we're talking about here are actions, because without them, it will always remain a conversation about ideas. Now, sometimes those actions will be of the one small step variety, and other times they may be of the giant leap variety. Either way, there will be a forward motion taking you ever closer to your dream. So that's a very brief overview of the coaching conversation. But if there's one thing I'd really like you to take away from this, it is the power of a coaching conversation is not in the conversation itself, it's in what you do as a result of the conversation. Which brings me nicely to the life-changing conversation I mentioned at the start. Now, I can still remember the conversation I had more than 15 years ago with one of my very first coaches. It was the conversation that was to become my catalyst, the conversation that shifted my thinking, feeling, and behavior, and ultimately inspired and empowered me to take action and set me on a new journey to becoming a coach. Now, without this conversation, I doubt I would have ever made the changes I yearned to make. Changes that enabled me to step into the work I longed to do and start a business that brought and continues to bring increasing joy and fulfillment. So when I say a conversation can change your life, I'm not joking. I'm living proof of it.